And that's great, I understand that. But he starts with the company line. And that company line goes something like this. It's like, well, sir, if you engage, if you study an hour or two every single day, and you engage in our online community, whatever the company's told him to say. If I were the sales director, I mean, seriously, and I've been sales director at several other places, I would not tell. The question is this: who cares? Who cares? How much does it cost? Who cares? Do you want to learn Mandarin Chinese? Yes. Here you go. Here you go. It doesn't matter. Like, really? I mean, yeah, it's got to be in your budget. You got to be able to have the money to pay for it, right? But the bottom line is, are you going to use that as an obstacle to learn Mandarin Chinese? Maybe I didn't have the money at the time. Maybe it was, I don't know, $5,000-$6,000, whatever it is, right? Then I'll go now. Get a paper route to pay for it because I want to do it, right? The desire is so important. I'm taking action on that desire. I'm finding my yes people, circumstances, and conditions, right? And I'm not negotiating with my dream. I'm not negotiating. And that's part of having the vibration of the arrival point. What commitments are you making? What commitments am I making about our arrival point? Or are we committing? Are we stuck in our departure point commitments? Are we stuck in our departure point agreements? Am I supposed to make an agreement with you about your departure point commitments? Right? Or are we going to make together an agreement about your arrival point commitments and what it's going to take to get there, no matter what it is? Right? No matter what it is. All right, this is kind of funny too, right? I mean, it's another example of negotiating. And just imagine that the kidnappers come and they take one of the kids. You can relate to this guy, right? They take one of the kids, right? And they call, and Meg answers the phone. Hello? Hey, this is the kidnappers. Honey, they got one. It's the kidnappers. We got one of your kids. Honey, they got one of the kids. And you'd be like, I can see you saying
I'd ask first which one.
That's exactly right. I was going to say that. Which one? Right. No, of course not. Well, no. If they got the boy, they can probably keep him, right? They can probably keep him if they got the boy. No, you don't negotiate. You don't negotiate with your dream. You don't negotiate. And we do it all the time. We negotiate all the time. We don't even realize we're doing it. And it's just something to be aware of, right? I mean, we're negotiating away our dream every single time. And maybe it's on the altar of economic survival. I'm going to do this, and I just don't have time, and I do this, and I'm a single mom, and hats off to single moms. My mother was one. That's awesome. That's awesome. But are you going to allow that? Are you going to allow that departure point commitment, as honorable, powerful, and wonderful as it is, to become a tyranny against your arrival point and where you want to go? It's not to say there aren't sacrifices that have to be made, and that's a different topic entirely. We'll cover that in just a minute. But when you see it is what it is that you want, that you desire, you've got to act, you've got to go. You can't be asking, well, is this the right thing to do? Is this not the right thing to do? The question is not that. The question is this. And George Bernard Shaw says this. He said this. 2% of people think, 3% of people think they think, 95% of people would rather die than think. Would rather die than, that's George Bernard Shaw. And we're asking people, what do you think? It's the last time I asked Dan what do you think, right? What do you think, Dan? What do you think? No, I know he thinks.
You just don't like the answer.
That's very true. That's very true. So what do we do? What are we doing? When we see it, and the question is this, is it going to move me in the direction of my goal, in the direction of my arrival point, in the direction of my dream? If it is, then you gotta go. You got to move. You can't just go. You got to run. You've got to jump and build your wings. Step number 5. Step number 5 is one of my favorite, because so many people, and I was horrible in art school. I mean, really, when I say art school, art class, right? And I detested art class. I just detest it. I'm like, oh my gosh, we've got art class again. And it's like, but you think about it, and how many of us, how many of you took art, right? Almost all of us took some form of art, right? Some form of art. And probably everybody loved art but me. How many of you loved art? Yeah, a lot of people loved art, right? For some reason. And I kept thinking, I'm not creative. We are creative. We are creative. And this isn't religious. This isn't a religious thing. We're maintaining religious neutrality here. But I am a Christian, right? I am a Christian. I believe in God, right? And I believe in God as the grand overall designer. That's in my belief system. You may not share that. And again, this is not a belief piece. But regardless, we are here, we have been created, whether it was through some process, through a big bang, whatever it is, however you ascribe that, it doesn't matter. The thing is, you're created, right? You're here. You're creative. Very creative. Whether you access that or whether I access that is a different story, but being creative, think of the creativity of just what would it be like to roll around in the mind of Elon Musk for a day. What a psychedelic trip that has got to be. I mean, really, think about that for a minute. Think about the creativity that it took, the creativity in the thought process, the creativity to send, he didn't know how, right? To send the rocket up and bring the booster back and have it land right in the same spot. Just imagine the creativity, and the creativity that we live in today, right? It was just 2 to 3 years ago that a lot of the social media started to be interconnected. Maybe it's 5 years ago, I'm kind of slow. But if you go back 15 years ago, we didn't know about, you twit, face, you twit, that's silly, right? You twit, we didn't know about Snapchat, Instagram 15 years ago. We didn't know about that. Look at the creativity, the innovation that has happened. And each one of us, if you think about your own career, your own life, when was the last time that you were creative? And that you were creative? Outside of all the alcohol that maybe flows at work in some workplaces. Right? Right? Irene and I were victimized by that environment. But anyway, that's a different story. Dan was as well. I hope this is going on record. And Arnie, I hope you're watching this. All right, so there we go. Enough of that.
That's a private Facebook Live I got going on.
That's exactly. Oh, that's nice. I like the Facebook Live. That live. That's great.
You just gave it a like.
That's good. Nice. That's very, very good. He should have been here tonight. But making an agreement with the possibility of creativity. How important is that? Right? The first thing we have to do is make an agreement that we can be creative about what it is that we need to do to get done, to move from, and to vibrate into our arrival point. It wasn't too long ago either that there was a cord that was attached to this thing right here. And I grew up with a rotary dial phone. Ooh, a rotary dial phone. Yeah, I still remember my phone number, dialing that, right? 767-8190. In the 404 area code, because obviously I grew up in Atlanta, Georgia. There was this cord, this long cord that was attached to this thing, and it was a handset, and this was a handset, right? And it was great because when I got off when my mother would get off the phone, I knew that I was going to have to spend 5 minutes holding the phone upside down and waiting for that thing to untangle, because she would walk around when she was talking and everything. It was great. She would get into her conversation, right? So it wasn't too long ago that we didn't even have these. We had, who remembers the beepers in the 90s? The beepers were all, you remember Skypage? Skypage was the bomb. It was an 800 number beeper. And just huge innovation across the board. And then I remember, and it wasn't too long ago, that to take a picture, oh my goodness, to take a picture, you bought a little square cube, you put it on top of a little slender camera or whatever it is that you had, and you go around, and everybody's seeing blue the whole time, right, the rest of the night.
Don't waste
film. Don't waste film, right? Oh my goodness, do not waste film. And then you had to drive into the little yellow photo hut that was sitting in the middle of a parking lot. God bless the soul that was sitting there. And you drove up and you gave them your film. You gave them all that film. And you had to be really nice to them, really nice, because you want your pictures back. And then you wait 3 weeks. 3 weeks to get your pictures back. And you're going through the pictures and it's like, oh, my thumb, oh, my finger, oh, my goodness. And now what is it, right? You snap, boom, 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 videos, Facebook Live, boom, you're going worldwide instantly. Instantly. You want to be a celebrity. We went to see Lady Gaga not too long ago here in Tampa. And right there, I mean, it's right there. It was a great show. And she's now in Vegas doing her thing. But absolutely phenomenal creativity. I mean, look at that creativity. Just amazing, amazing, amazing creativity with that. But one thing she said was, celebrity, really? I mean, you want to be a celebrity? You want fame? Seriously? Then get a social media account and learn how to use it. I mean, really, anyone can become famous on social media. Just do it. Do it. How many celebrities do we have now? Maybe Justin Bieber doesn't count. How many celebrities do we have now that came out of YouTube or that are coming out of YouTube in the future? Right? We have so much power at our disposal today. There is no excuse for us. There's no excuse for us. There's so much power. So much power for us to get from our departure point into that arrival point where we want to be. There's no reason for us not to capture that. There's no reason for us not to vibrate with that arrival point energy. That's what's going to pull us through into that point of achievement. When we have the principles of the learning model of achievement, when we have those principles, then we can capture that. Because remember, we have learning models of failure, we have learning models of achievement. And what are the 3 pillars? Awareness, belief that we can do it, and principles inside the model. Those 3 things are necessary no matter what it is that we're doing. So number 6 is challenging our beliefs, right? Those with a learning model of achievement, and that's what all these steps are, and there's only 4 more and we're done. But what time is it anyway? I don't want to go too far. We're getting close. Yeah, we're getting close. But I promise you, just a couple more minutes, or a few more minutes. Number 6, those with a learning model of achievement, they challenge their own beliefs. They challenge their own beliefs. Again, remember when I said, it's easy for us to believe a lie even still now, and I will guarantee you that there are things that I believe today unconsciously. And Carl Jung said this. The conscious, right, about the unconscious. Until we make the unconscious conscious, until